This is Katrin with Disability Rights New York. Welcome to our podcast, Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned. We are here to bring you information on the most relevant topics regarding disability rights and advocacy. Today, we welcome Susan Lerner, Executive Director of Common Cause New York, to discuss the importance of voting and its relationship to Common Cause's mission and advocacy work. Susan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Katrin, so happy to be here.
So, Susan, let's talk a little bit about your organization. Common Cause has been around for a long time, and there's more than one. It's not just in New York State. Talk to us about what Common Cause does and how they operate.
Sure. Common Cause, we are in our 50th year. We are actually a national organization with state chapters across the country. And we have a presence in more than 30 states. We have over 1 million members across the country. And our basic mission is to strengthen and protect a vibrant, inclusive democracy. So voting is central to that mission.
It sure is. As we look at all of the issues regarding democracy, without the vote, we don't really have many more, do we? So let's talk about why voting is so important, not only to further the work of Common Cause, but as you just brought up, how it impacts democracy on every level.
You know, the idea of our system of governance is that we have a representative democracy, that we elect individuals who will be legislators, who will be executives, and they are supposed to represent the best interests of the people that they are voted to represent. I mean, I keep saying represent, because that's really at the basis of our system, a representational democracy. And so in order to be sure that the people who are elected are actually representing their constituents, they have to be voted in by a substantial majority, ideally, of the people that they represent. They're supposed to be consensus builders, they're supposed to be problem solvers, and they're supposed to understand the issues and challenges of the people that they represent and the problems they're supposed to solve. And voting is how we communicate who we want to have as our primary problem solvers.
And so when we talk about the community that Common Cause serves, you really represent all of us. So there's a very large community for you to attend to. Let's talk a little bit about that and how you do work to represent such a very large group of people.
It is challenging. We are a very big and diverse state, a very big and diverse country. But what our election system has to do and what we work to do is to help to balance the needs of the different communities to ensure that the franchise is available to all eligible voters. And that means being sensitive to the concerns of African American voters, being aware of the needs of voters who have language access issues, as well as being concerned that voters with disabilities have the sort of assistance which they need to be able to vote.
And right now, we are coming up on a lot of major elections. Talk about what Common Cause is working on right now to help get voters to the polls in November.
So there's 3 different things that we're working on. First, we are working to change election laws to solve some of the problems that became obvious in our June primary, with a widely expanded ability to vote absentee. Some of the, I would have to say, antiquated aspects of our law as it deals with absentee voting became glaringly obvious. And so we have succeeded in getting the legislature to make some changes in how the state election law handles absentee ballots. So first of all, the legislature has recently passed a statute which makes it clear that expanded absentee voting is going to be available for all voters in November. So that was the first thing we needed to accomplish. Secondly, they passed a statute which sets up a cure procedure that if you make certain mistakes on your filling out your absentee ballot and sending it in, that the Board of Elections has to let you know that there was an error that can be fixed. That's a very big deal. And also we got them to deal with the problem of whether or not your absentee ballot, when you return it, gets a dated postmark. And they made a small adjustment that will result in counting some additional absentee ballots. But there's still a lot more to be done. We'd like to see them amend the law, change the law further to be sure that the minimum number of absentee ballots are disallowed. And of course, we need the governor to sign those bills that have been passed. We're also working directly with the boards of elections to really help them think through how to do a better job recruiting poll workers, training poll workers, and changes in procedures that will speed up the counting of absentee ballots. And then finally, we're looking at a broad education campaign to really help voters understand that they have options in voting in November, that they will be able to use absentee voting, and also really to urge them to make their decisions and vote early absentee or vote early in person. And we're also advocating to be sure that there is a robust system that allows voters with different physical abilities to be able to access absentee ballots as well as in-person voting.
And so, as we've said a couple of times already, this is a large topic, and there's so many things that we could go off and talk about. But let's think about some words of encouragement for our audience. What would you like to say to our audience right now as we're getting close to these elections? And what should they do if they have any questions or problems that they need addressed?
Right. So questions or problems, definitely reach out to commoncause.org/NY, and we'll help to the extent that we can, but also check with your local board of elections. There's a lot of information, hopefully available to people with different abilities through the internet. Voters should check their registration just to be sure that it's up to date. And if possible, be sure that your board of elections has an email or a phone number for you. So if some question comes up, they can get in touch with you, because the recent change in the law allows them to email or call a voter if there's a problem with their absentee ballot. But most importantly, what I would say to voters is vote early. Don't wait until the day before the election to decide, oh, I wish I had an absentee ballot, or to put your absentee ballot in the mail. If you can, request your absentee ballot early in the process. If you want to vote absentee, don't hold it until the last moment. Put it in the mail a solid 2 weeks before Election Day. Or if you know that you want to vote in person, take advantage of early voting and vote early in that process, not late. So the more we can get ahead of the curve for our general presidential election in November, the better it will be for the voters and for a orderly, accurate count.
Susan, thank you so much for your time today. That was great advice, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Great. Thank you, Catherine.
Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned has been brought to you by Disability Rights New York, your source for disability rights and advocacy. If you enjoyed our program, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this post. If there is a subject you would like us to discuss, please email podcast@drny.org or comment below. Tune in next Wednesday, where we'll bring you more information on disability rights in the state of New York. The closed captioned and ASL version of this podcast is available on our YouTube channel. To listen to more Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned, follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.